Hi guys, this is the next lesson in the Forces module for AQA GCSE Physics Unit 2 P2. More about levers and gears. So, pre-starter, this is what I would normally do with my students in class anyway. How are you going to open it? Well, why don't you give yourself some time to think about that before I carry on with the video. How would you actually go about opening this glass bottle of a Coca-Cola drink? So, give yourself 30 seconds or so, pause the video, think about it, and then we're going to go through it together. So let's go through it together then. So obviously, as you can see, you have a metallic bottle cap here. Well, really the first question you should be thinking about is, where is the pivot? And hopefully you're going to identify that the pivot is right over there at the central point on the surface, or in this case, the central point on the bottle cap itself. And the next question you should be thinking of is, what simple device can I use to force the cap off easily? I could use a bottle opener. In this case, that is what I'm going to do, and that is my lever. How will I move the lever? Well, I'm going to apply a force upwards on this end of the handle of the lever. Now, do I need a small or large amount of force for this? Well, actually, judging by the size of the arrow, which is supposed to convey a particular idea, the idea that no, actually, I don't need a large amount of force to be applied to use the bottle opener. Otherwise it'd be pretty useless as a device. However, a larger force is needed elsewhere as this lever is being used. And the question is, where is that larger force required? It's actually required over here at the point, at the pivot, the point at which the bottle cap is forced off. And that's important, and that's obviously represented by the larger arrow here. The force applied is further from the pivot, which is the force applied, that's over here. So the force applied here is further from the pivot than the edge of the cap is from the pivot. And that is what makes it a very useful device to use. Now, look at the difference in the size of these two arrows, because they both represent different amounts of forces. Look at the difference in force between what the person does over here and what the lever does over here at this point, at the pivot. The force that I've applied onto the handle of the lever is much less than the actual amount of force produced over here that's used to force the cap off. The force has multiplied, therefore, and that's what we say. The force has multiplied. It's a force multiplier. Levers are force multipliers. So let's carry on with the lesson. That's your title. Write it down. More about levers and gears. I expect all of you by the end of the lesson to understand how levers work. That's grade 5. It's important that you're also able to determine how gears multiply force, and we'll be looking at that quantitatively as well in terms of gear ratios and whatnot. That's grade 6, and I also expect you to be able to explain how gears work, and that's grade 7 going up to about a grade 8. This is GCSE Triple Science Physics only. And just like with the other lessons, guys, for literacy, as always, it's absolutely crucial that you focus on writing with the correct use of, it's cut off there, but the correct use of keywords. So, what if I used a short handle lever to open the bottle? Would it be easier or harder to force the cap off? Now actually, I hope you're thinking it should be harder. If you're going to use a shorter handled lever to open up the bottle in the same way, it's going to require more force to be applied by you to force the cap off. The force that you would apply, the reason why it's harder is because the force that you would apply is closer to the pivot itself of the bottle cap. So you would have to apply more force to take the cap off. Now, if you're using a longer handled lever, the force on the cap is going to be much larger than the force you apply to the bottle opener. In other words, the difference in forces will be greater. Because where you apply the force is further away from the pivot. And as we've already said, therefore, the opener acts as a force multiplier and exerts a larger force on the cap. And the larger the force, the easier it is to force the cap off. So, Here's a task for you then. I want you to solve this problem, a familiar scenario, a familiar context in this module, and that is, well, in this particular topic in the forces module, and that is a wheel nut has become stuck inside a person's car's alloy, in one of the alloys of a person's car. I want you to answer this question in your books. Explain why a long-handled wrench, which is an example of a lever, is better than a short-handled one for undoing the stuck wheel nut. 4 marks to do so. This picture may of course help you as well. I'm not sure if it will, but it might. Press pause and give a go. Use these keywords. You can use all of, and I would expect you to use all of them. You can use any of them more than once if you want to. Just keep that in mind, guys. Remember, the line of action between where the force is applied and where the pivot is, that distance represents the line of action between where the force is applied onto a lever and where a greater force, hopefully, will be applied onto the object of interest, which in this case is represented in the form of a wheel nut, or in this case a stuck wheel nut. So press pause, give yourself 4 minutes, and then when you're ready for the answer, press play. We'll go through the answers. Okay, let's go through the answers then. So this is your first objective. Have a green pen at the ready and self-mark your answers in a green pen and make any corrections that you know you need to make. Alright, so mark 1. Force applied to the lever acts further from the pivot. That's mark 1. Mark 2. Force on the wheel nut is much larger than the force you apply to the wrench, and therefore the line of action of force applied is further from the pivot than the wheel nut is. And finally, wrench acts as a force multiplier. That is, the long-handled wrench acts as a force multiplier. Give yourself a mark out of 4 in a green pen, make any corrections you know you need to make, and write down the number of marks you got as well. Let's move on. Obviously pause here if you need to and go through the answers. I'm not going to give you that time now because I'm literally recording a video. So, let's go on to gears. Now, gears are much like levers. They multiply the effect of a turning force. So let's look at a car as an example of how gears are useful in low gear. Here you have a gear wheel that is connected to the engine shaft. Here you have a larger gear wheel that is connected to the wheel shaft. That is the output shaft that actually turns the wheels of a car, producing the turning, the rotation of a car's wheels. The small gear, as you can see here, judging from this curved arrow going in the clockwise direction, is turning this larger gear wheel in the anti-clockwise direction. Now the smaller gear, this is very important folks, the smaller gear is increasing the turning effect of the engine force. So a bigger turning effect is exerted on the wheels. In other words, this smaller gear wheel is moving faster. This larger gear wheel will be moving slower. However, the smaller gear is multiplying the turning effect of the engine force. So a bigger turning effect is exerted on the wheels, a force multiplier. The reason why is when you look at these double-sided arrows. The distance between where the force is applied on the small gear wheel and its shaft is relatively short, but the distance between where the force is applied, that is the edge of the, that is the point over here where force is applied on the larger gear wheel, the distance between there and its shaft is greater. There's a greater distance here. Remember, moment equals force times distance. Why am I saying that? Remember, the turning force on the larger gear wheel acts further from its shaft. Distance increases. Greater distance from the shaft equals bigger turning effect or bigger moment. Remember, moment can be changed, therefore, by gears. Again, remember, moment equals force times distance. The value of D is increasing the larger the gear wheels get, which quantitatively increases the moment of the turning effect. Look at it in this case then. You have a wheel with more teeth, which must be the same size, turning slower. That's the idea here. Larger gears, remember gears have teeth in them. Here the bigger wheel is turning at half the speed. This is another way of looking at gears, folks, in terms of a simple animation. But the moment of the turning force will actually be twice as big, because the radius of this larger gear wheel is twice as big as this smaller gear wheel is. The ratio of moments between them will therefore be equal to the ratio of teeth between them and the ratio of the radii between them. This is twice as big in terms of distance than this. This has twice the number of teeth as this one does. This will therefore have twice as big of a moment than the smaller gear wheel will have. The bigger gear wheel in this case then, well, think about it. The bigger wheel will turn at a third of the speed of the smaller one. But the moment of the turning force will be 3 times bigger. It'll be 3 times the size of the smaller wheel. It's 3 times bigger in distance. That's important to remember. Here's another example. What if I told you that the moment of this 36 centimeter gear wheel, which you've just looked at, we're looking at it now, not as 36 teeth, but as 36 centimeters. Let's imagine that this larger gear wheel has a moment of 108 Newton meters. Well, what if I was to ask you to work out the moment of this smaller 12 centimeter gear wheel? Well, first you'd write them out as a ratio. I know I have 12 centimeters to 36 centimeters. And that is equal to the moment of the smaller gear wheel, which I don't know, so I'm going to put capital M, to 108, because that is the moment I know for the larger gear wheel, 36 centimeter gear wheel. I can also express this as 12 divided by 36 equals M divided by 108. So therefore, to rearrange this formula, which is what I now need to do to make M the subject of the formula, I do 12 multiplied by 108, divide that by 36, and that actually gives me 36 Newton meters. So now I know that the size of the moment of the smaller 12 centimeter gear wheel is 36 Newton meters. So, over to you now. Give yourself 10 minutes to do these questions. Press pause and give a go. Use the keywords to help you. Use them more than once if you want to. Remember the equation on the board. I will just say that when you answer question 1, which is explain how gears can be force multipliers, I want you to answer that question in terms of a car. So in terms of the engine force, in terms of wheels, etc., that sort of thing. There is a challenge on the worksheet as well. My students, you will have already had this sent to you on Firefly, so please access it that way. Everyone else though, please can you access the exam question worksheets in this way. Press pause on the video as I go through the worksheet. Give the questions a go. That's question 2. 4 parts to it. And there's question 3 at the bottom as well. And can I just say that when you do work out, for this challenge, when you do work out distance, make sure, because you're given the distance value here, the radius here in millimeters, it must be converted into meters before you carry on. Remember, the distance value must always be in meters. So, press pause, give it a go. When you're ready for the answers, press play. I'll also just say as well that I'm also, because I did not do this in the second part of this recording, I'm just going to quickly show you guys the homework sheet as well. My students, I will already be expecting you to do this homework sheet. Anyone else though who's watching these videos, I don't know who these videos are being watched by really at the end of the day, here's an exam question worksheet, an extra one that you can do at the end of part 1 and part 2 of the levers and gears videos on the YouTube channel. So I'm just going to scroll through it so you can come back to this in your own time. Okay, and that's that. Just one more time. So remember, that's question 1A, question 1B, and question 2. My students, this homework sheet will have already been sent to you on Firefly. Alright, so guys, press pause, give it a go, and when you're ready, press play. Or actually, when you're ready, go on to part 2 of the topic.